I'm Warren Sharp, and this is Sharp Football Analysis. On today's episode, we're going to be diving into Super Bowl props. We asked for some of your best prop submissions, and you gave them to us. So many of your entries were good. We had to figure out how to narrow it down to about 10 of them. We've got 10 of them. We're going to play every single one of those videos here momentarily, and then we're going to decide who is going to be crowned the winner and potentially walk away with $2,000 in cash and prizes. You don't want to miss this episode. A lot of props on deck. Let's dive into it. All right, we are almost here, and I am joined by Hribar, Raymond Summerlin, and we are going to be tackling some of the props that you guys submitted for our annual Sharp Tank podcast. This is something that I know you guys look forward to every single year. But first of all, we're recording this Thursday afternoon. The game is going to be Sunday. We just heard, guys, about Nick Emmanwori for the Seattle Seahawks injure his ankle. Just wanted to touch on that briefly. Ray, I know you've been updating our news and notes and information on that. If you could give everybody kind of the latest information that we have on that injury. And then, Rich, if you want to chime in with some of your thoughts as to how that might impact the game.
Oh, well, we're recording this Thursday afternoon. So by the time you listen to it, we will hopefully had Emmanwori's practice report on Thursday. But we did have Mike McDonald come out and call it a low ankle sprain, said that he expects him to play. We did have video come out of him limping into the hotel, but he wasn't in a boot. He wasn't using crutches. So those are promising signs. And it's less than ideal, obviously, for the Seahawks defense. And I feel like I put in my notes, in case Rich didn't mention him during the show we recorded on Tuesday, to make sure that I teed up Rich to mention Emmanwori, because he seems to be your favorite player in the NFL, and I think that's a justified opinion to have. And so yeah, it's a big deal if he's not able to play, and if he's not 100%. We're just going to have to wait and see on it. Although we do have our old friend, Rich and my old friend, Denny Carter's wonderful joke of this is the lowest ankle sprain you've ever seen. The lowest ankle sprain that has ever existed. So we just have to wait and see, honestly, at this point. But I would say the early signs for him are good based on just reading the tea leaves.
He is one of my favorite players. These hybrid types of players. Caleb Downs coming into the NFL would be super high on Caleb Downs. He's going to go too low. If he's drafted anywhere below 5, it's going to be too low for
I've been seeing outside the top 10 maybe for Downs.
Unreal.
What are we doing?
Unreal, man. What are we doing? Yeah, because I mean he's just a player that does everything, and Seattle does have a pretty large sample in their splits this season without him, because he basically missed the first 4.5 weeks of the season with a different ankle injury on his other ankle. And they were really good in those weeks. That's earlier in the season. They played some weaker opponents. You're worried for a couple of reasons, though, for him. Is this like, one, if he's not 100%, is that, impact some of their defense? And then if he obviously were to miss the game, which sounds like he won't, but this is a guy that only 2 players in the NFL have played 30% of their snaps in the slot and 10% as an edge rusher. And it's him and Derwin James. This guy's just moves all over the field. We saw him in the NFC Championship game. He played a snap at free safety. He played 5 snaps at outside cornerback. He played 25 snaps at slot cornerback. He played 17 snaps on the edge. He has the highest rate of snaps for any defensive back in the box this season. He allows all those things we talked about when Warren was, talking about the cover 6 breakdown and how this team defends out of big nickel. Like, he's kind of the linchpin and allows them to do all of those things because he's such a hybrid player and kind of a positionless player. And so you want him to be 100%, even though their splits, like I said, early in the season were good with him off the field. He's still a player that impacts this game, and we want to see him, play 100%. Definitely Seattle fans do. I saw one fan say that they were Nick Emmanwori worried, and I did appreciate that tweet as well.
Yeah, the thing is, he's such a young player. He doesn't have a lot of games in the league. So some of the people that are casual observers don't really realize how impactful an injury this could be. Obviously, they say that he's going to go and he's going to try to play, but you never really know, will he be able to play the full game? How successful will he be? And some of the Twitter doctors, obviously, the sky is falling a little bit type thoughts from them. So we'll just have to figure out and see how he ends up going, how he practices the rest of this week. Does he get a full back in, or is he just limited the rest of the week? And Obviously a big time concern there, and does impact some of the player props and some of the other angles that you might be looking at as it relates to the game. But hopefully you guys, if you're tuning into this show, you went back and already watched the show that we recorded 2 days ago, where Rich and Ray and myself broke down every single aspect of this game, previewed what we thought was going to happen, previewed and shared some of our best bets. That is in that episode. And if you guys missed it, you need to go back and watch that. One of the best episodes that we did this entire season. But this one is kind of the more fun episode. Now that Rich is done with his worksheet, now that I'm done with my report, now that Ray has edited both of those, it is a little bit time to kind of let your hair down, so to speak. Just focus on researching news, props. There's lots of different prop markets, so many unique markets that never exist during the season that are available for the Super Bowl. So from a player prop perspective, like we've seen a lot of those, but first reception of the game type prop, who's going to catch the first reception of the game prop. But then there's other like team-based props and punting props, field goal props, all types of things that you can find out there. We're digging into and sharing those with our subs. As you're listening to this, we have sent, I want to say, like 5 or 6 different waves of releases. Right after the show, I've got another wave of releases that we're going to be sending out to subs. So if you haven't picked up your package, we'll tell you a little bit more about how you can get on board for the picks and packages that we have for the Super Bowl. However, what I do want to say is, if you want to get a copy of my report, which is somewhere sitting around here, I don't have it. Oh, here we go. This is the report right here. This great TV. Oh, by the way, my jacket, I just got this jacket in. I want to say all 60 Super Bowl logos, 59 of them are on the sleeves. Obviously, this is Super Bowl 60, fully embroidered. One of the coolest bits of memorabilia that I've purchased from the Super Bowl. But this is a Super Bowl report, 53 pages in length. Doesn't show up on camera very nicely, but if you want a free copy of this, our friends at Novig are giving that to you right now when you sign up for Novig with code Warren and complete your first purchase on Novig. What that means is basically you'll get some money into your account over there. You will receive my full 53-page Super Bowl report for free. Plus, you will get a purchase match of up to $100, doubling every dollar that you put into your account. Now, one of the biggest things about Novig right now are the money lines for the Super Bowl. There is no better place to bet money lines and lock your plays in than on Novig if you're looking to get down on the money lines. You do not want to take plus 194, for example, on the Patriots money line if you're looking to bet the dog on the money line at FanDuel, when you can get it for plus 212 over at Novig at this very moment. That is going to, in the long run, make you a lot more money by doing that. If you're looking to bet on the Seahawks, you do not want to lay minus 238 Seahawks money line at DraftKings when you can lay minus 214 at Novig. Again, we're just trying to save you some money. They have much better money lines than you are going to find elsewhere. This is a simple way to maximize your profit on the Super Bowl. If you don't take advantage of it, you're leaving money on the table. So no better deal than this. Sign up for Novig with the code Warren. You can click the link in the description of the video below to get on board. You'll get my Super Bowl report for free. You'll get a $100 purchase match, and you will get the best lines available for the Super Bowl. All right, with that said, guys, I think we can just start diving right into these videos. I believe we've got 11 of them. 2 are very closely related. Before we get started, I know we've all looked at them. Our producer has reviewed them. Other people at our website have dug into them and helped us compile these videos. And I first got to say that not only were we very impressed by the overall volume of people that cared about this contest, wanted to get their videos in, but the quality overall and the thought that went into some of these just shows how cool of an audience that we have. You guys cared a lot about trying to make some good videos that are based upon some very solid props. You gave some great logic for these props. And I want to say, even if you didn't make the cut, so to speak, still pat yourself on the back. Some of those are very good angles and props that probably will have a high rate of success. But we just could only fit 10/11 into the show. So first and foremost, Ray, any overarching sentiment? Do you echo what I was sharing? Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, yeah, it was great. I had a great time last night sitting down, getting to watch all of them. It was a great time to sit and listen. Some thoughts I hadn't had that were introduced. In fact, a few of those are in here that got me thinking about the game maybe a little bit differently. In fact, this first one we're going to listen to is one that I liked for that reason. So it made me think, all right, how much are we actually going to see here? So yeah, lots of interesting ones, and it was a good I don't know 30 minutes or so of me sitting and going through these. So I really enjoyed it.
All right, so first up, we're going to hit John D, and let's hear what John D thinks is going to be a prop that will have a lot of success in the Super Bowl.
Hello, Sharps. My favorite Super Bowl prop is over 6.5 different Patriots to have a reception in the game. That has been juiced to minus 174 at FanDuel, and the line may even have moved to 7.5 in some spots, but I still like it either way. This is just a matter of game script. Anytime Drake Maye has to throw the ball a lot, he spreads it around and sails over this number. If you go back to the opener against the Raiders, he connected with 10 different receivers, including himself on a deflected ball. And then the 3 other times that he attempted at least 35 passes, he connected with 9 different receivers, and it was always the same 9. The top 5 wideouts, the top 2 tight ends, and the top 2 running backs. He hasn't had to throw a lot in the postseason, but the one good weather game he had against the Chargers, he again connected with 9 different guys and introduced 2 new ones. The 6th receiver, who is Efton Chisholm, and then the fullback, Jack Westover. So that's 11 different potential candidates, and we only need 7 or 8. I love this prop.
Yeah, I like this prop too. I think it's really interesting. Like I said, it forced me to really think about, all right, how many people are really going to get catches here for the Patriots is obviously something good to think about from a prop perspective. And then also from a DFS perspective, if you're interested in playing some DFS here with the Super Bowl. I don't really like the price, minus 174. I think that's the part that's really pushing back. But I mean, he mentioned all of the names. I would say Diggs, Booty, Henry, and Stevenson probably locks, right? For a catch, we would say. Those 4, you got Mac Hollins. Is he going to play more now that he's 2 weeks removed? You've got, Travion Henderson. Are they going to use him more? We'll get some more Travion Henderson as we go here. Do they use more 2 tight end sets, which opens up, Austin Hooper? I know our guy Curtis really likes Austin Hooper's over on receptions and yards. Do they dial something up for Demario Douglas down the field? Do they dial something up for Kyle Williams down the field? He mentioned Westover. Like there are lots of options here. Do we get a pass back to Drake Maye, right? Do we get a Drake Maye reception, or do we make all of Rich's dreams come true with a Kairos Tonga goal line touchdown reception? Like, are we like, how far can we go in this? I like it, and there are definitely a ton of avenues here, but I just don't. That price seems high to me. What do y'all think?
Well, I like it as well. I think the way that Josh McDaniels dials up game plans that are opponent specific, and they don't really have a guy that they need to funnel targets to, I do think that there could be a lot of targets that are spread out. The bigger issue that I have with it, aside from the price, is just the simple fact that are we going to get a reduction in plays because these teams do come out and run the football a lot? You really do need the right game script here. I think, in other words, you need the Seahawks to jump out. If you like the Seahawks, you should love this prop. Because I do think they're very closely correlated. If the Patriots are playing from a position of advantage, but not by far, then you're going to have the Seahawks running the football a lot as well. So I think this game state could be very different from some of their other game states. So that definitely is going for you as well. And as he mentioned, this has hit very frequently before. So I would be definitely betting on this rather than fading this one if we had to decide. Rich, how about you?
I like it as well from just a projection stance, but yeah, the price is a little bit, you're taking a big time hit with minus 174, but they just play everyone. This is a sum of parts offense. Like they incorporate everyone in the offense. The last 5 games, they've had 5 different players lead the team in receiving. Like they like to use every little bit of the toolbox that they have. And we could even see some other guys be involved this week, like a Westover could catch a pass. I know he brought him up having one in the wild card round that was without Mac Hollins. Do we see anything like fun dialed up in terms of like a wide receiver throwing a pass or someone else throwing a pass? So like there's options here. It's just, this one is a little bit juiced up, but if you ask me to choose a side, I would absolutely choose more than 6.5 guys catch a pass for the Patriots.
All right, so that's John D. Now let's go to Matthew G. and hear what he has to say. He's on a Drake Maye prop.
Sharps, Matt still digging out in Cincy. My favorite prop bet for the Super Bowl is Drake Maye, longest completion of the Super Bowl. It's currently plus 100 at Bet365. I like this for a number of reasons. First is opportunity. It's likely that the Pats will be behind or in a close game. And with how good Seattle's rush defense is, I'm confident the Pats will be passing all game long. Next, the Pats have given up league low 16 passes of 25 yards or more, compared to number 8 ranked Seattle with 31. And New England's hot right now, only giving up 2 over the last 6 and 4 over the last 11 games. On the other side of the ball, New England's consistently pushed the ball down the field. They're number 3 in passes over 25 yards and have a variety of deep ball options. Just during the playoffs, 6 different players have caught passes of more than 20 yards, and that doesn't include their number 1 receiver, Diggs, or Kyle Williams, their speed specialist. Seattle was top 10 deep balls completed this year, but second half decreased 31% compared to the first half of the year. JSN's the biggest threat here. His week 1 through 10 A-dot was 13.2 yards. It's down to 9.0 from then on. Kupp has 0 25-yard receptions over the last 6 games, and Shaheed's averaging less than a catch per game in the last 5 games. Though they're all threats, I think game script, different options, and deep ball defensive performance gives us an opportunity to cash an even money ticket. Thanks.
This is an interesting one because both these teams are so good in terms of defending the vertical pass. Plus, you have probably better yak players on the Seattle side, you know, in terms of JSN, Rashid Shaheed, and even Kenneth Walker being a really good yards after the catch player and being able to force missed tackles. But the Patriots are going to take their shots downfield, whereas Seattle is, we've talked about a few times over the last couple weeks in the playoffs that they've really kind of funneled some things on the interior. And, you know, Sam Darnold's A-dot has gone down. We've actually bet Sam Darnold's under, a couple weeks ago against the 49ers. That was even before the oblique injury. It wasn't, that bet wasn't oblique injury induced. And then you also have Maye has struggled to throw the ball downfield against these defenses that they faced. So this one's kind of more of a toss-up, but you're getting plus money on a toss-up. So I'm not like even mad at it for kind of being like, well, this is how it could fail because it's just him versus Sam Darnold. And, you're just like said, you're getting plus money here. So it's not one like I would kind of go out of my way for, but I do appreciate though, as well, being in Ohio with the 2 feet of snow, I can emphasize that. So it's like, I'll have to support him, with all how much snow he's got to shovel because I've been doing the same thing for 2 weeks.
Oh, that's what was on the ground. I've never seen that before. I didn't know what all that was. Snow, you're calling it. It's like frozen water. That's interesting. So I actually think, we talked about the Darnold in the second half of the season with, not really throwing it down the field. He's actually, his A-dot the last 2 games is 9.1 and 8.2, which has actually been pushing a little bit more down the field. So that's an interesting side of this as well. But I mean, the thing about Maye is it hasn't been successful, but he's actually throwing down the field more in the playoffs. He has thrown at least 20 air yards on 19.5% of his attempts in the playoffs, actually higher than his regular season average. So yeah, he's still taking the shots. They just haven't hit, right? Will one hit? I mean, we've seen Booty make crazy plays. We've seen Maye drop it in the bucket a few times already this year, already this playoffs. So I think it definitely could hit for sure for them.
Yeah, you've got the contrast of the blitz rate of the Patriots on Sam Darnold. Will he have to speed up his process? Will he have time to throw the ball down the field as much? And then you've got the horrible tackles for the Patriots defending the edge of their line against the pass rush of Seattle, forcing Drake Maye to try to get the ball out a little bit quicker as well. So which one of those will have a little bit more success? The yards after the catch probably does go to the Seattle Seahawks, but the air yards and the depth probably goes to the New England Patriots. So I think this is a good one. And if you're playing into the game state and game script, then there might be a higher need to throw the ball down the field late for Drake Maye. So I like that from Matthew. Let's go to Zachary W. And he's got a field goal prop, which I find to be pretty interesting.
Sharps, I'm here to give you my favorite prop pick for Super Bowl 60 and why. It's a very simple pick for me. The first score of the Super Bowl is going to be a field goal, available at Westgate Superbook at plus 135. You have 2 first-time Super Bowl quarterbacks, 2 first-time Super Bowl head coaches. You have the top 2 scoring defenses in the league. This is a game where points are earned, they're not forced. Vrabel's not going for it every 4th down. McDonald knows Jason Myers has been automatic from anywhere all season. I think this is a game where you're going to see that they cross midfield and have a tough decision to make. But at the end of the day, to start this game, we're not starting with fireworks. We're starting with taking the points. Give me field goal as the first score of Super Bowl 60 this year.
I like Zachary's thought process here. Look, if this game starts by one of the teams getting the ball and marching it down the field and scoring a touchdown on the opening drive, if something like that were to happen, I think 90% of what I have heard from all the people that are projecting different aspects of this game are going to be wrong, right? Like there's very few people that are like, oh yeah, offense in the first quarter, they're going to march it down and score. This is not how most people are perceiving the game. And this is an interesting way to bet that that is not going to happen without betting the first quarter under or something like that, where a lot of other people are on. This is sort of an interesting derivative to bet that we aren't going to see a touchdown happen first. And I kind of like it for that reason.
Yeah, you get defensive-minded head coaches. I think I don't really have much to add to the video. I think like everything about it is good. And then you get plus 135. Yeah, love it.
I'm on board with you as well. We got two really good defenses. We've got two teams that want to run the football. They're going to probably get themselves into some long down and distances that they don't really want to be in, unfortunately. So I do like this one as well. Probably out of the three we've done so far, this would be my favorite one.
So we're queuing a kickoff return touchdown to open the game, right? Like
yeah.
What's happening after this conversation?
A lot of pain.
No other option, no other choice.
Well, now we've got Rob R, hopefully, with another defensive-minded prop here, and this one is on the total sacks in the game. So let's hear what Rob R has to say.
Rob from Pittsburgh, my favorite Super Bowl prop bet this year, total sacks over 5.5. Got this at the local Bet River Sportsbook for minus 105. Have seen it on some of the bigger sites for a little bit more juice. Explanation simple. The Seattle Seahawks gave up 2 sacks to the non-pass rushing 49ers defense, gave up 3 to the Rams. On the other side, New England, the tackles are Spanish matadors, gave up 5 sacks in each of the last 2 games in the playoffs, and Seattle might be able to cash this bet themselves. So there it is, the winner. Total sacks over 5.5.
I love this bet. This is, Rich said that was his favorite, was the last one. This was my favorite based on everything we've heard so far. I talked on Tuesday on that episode about Maye in the playoffs and how he's been just not handling pressure well. 45.5% of his pressures have resulted in sacks in the playoffs, which is by far the most of all quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers is second at 25%. Darnold was more of like a mid-pack kind of sack to pressure quarterback in the regular season, but we know what these Patriots have done in terms of pressure rate in the playoffs. 51.9% pressure rate in the playoffs, which is just wild. They've been blitzing a ton, 39.8% blitz rate in the playoffs. So the Seahawks, by the way, are 42.7% pressure rate in the playoffs. So we got 2 high pressure rate teams when in these most recent games. We've got a quarterback that holds the ball and takes sacks. I mean, it's just, I like this bet a lot. I don't understand why it's just 5.5. Honestly, I think that this is a really, really good bet.
Yeah, this one I would say similar to the first one. I would definitely side at the over. I mean, it's still like 6 sacks. It still is a high enough number to make it count. But it does make sense. I mean, Drake Maye's taken 5 sacks in all 3 playoff games. He's taking 3 or more sacks in 13 games this season. Darnold's been sacked at least multiple times in 5 straight games. You probably have some things ingrained into these quarterbacks that it's okay to take a sack in this game. I assume that they're telling them that, actually, how the Patriots won last 2 weeks ago at Jarrett Stidham not taking a sack and, try to do a little bit too much. I'm sure they're telling them that it's okay. If you have to take a sack, we'll play good defense and get the ball back. So 2 teams that get really high pressure rates, like Ray said, I would side with the over for sure. If you force me to pick a side, it is still, like I said, a high number. If you twist the arm, though, I would say over though too.
I think the interesting aspect of what you just said, Rich, it was the coaches, the defensive-minded coaches are going to be telling their guys, do not fumble the football in the pocket. And with the high rate of blitzing that the Patriots might bring on Darnold, and with Maye and his tackles as the what is it, Rob suggested, they're Spanish matadors, but 2 hands on the ball at all times, right? And if your focus is 2 hands on the ball, you're going to be less likely to stiff arm and try to escape the pocket, try to elude, make a move, get out. You might end up taking an extra sack. And like you said, punt the ball is not the worst thing in the world. I will say this, as a result, if you can do something like this on your sportsbook and you like the thought from Rob and some of our comments on this one, maybe you do a parlay between punt overs and sack overs, because I do think Rich had a great point in the video that we recorded earlier, like the high sack being drive killers for both of these teams, and how if these guys do take sacks, they're basically going to be punting the football soon thereafter. So that's an interesting angle as well. Justin V has an angle on Drake Maye. We've already heard one Drake Maye to have the longest completion of anybody in the Super Bowl. Now we got a Drake Maye prop again from Justin. Let's see what he has to say.
Sharps, my name is Justin. My favorite Super Bowl prop is Drake Maye under 220.5 passing yards. Right now, that number is available at FanDuel and DraftKings. I think this wins for several reasons, but the biggest is Seattle's defensive structure. Warren himself has pointed out that Seattle loves to play cover 6, and Drake Maye has struggled mightily against it. New England's passing game generally relies on dig routes and deep passes, but cover 6 is designed to take those away. I also believe that Seattle should be able to generate pressure without blitzing. That's likely to force Maye into scrambles, throwaways, or outlet passes and short completions. I think this game should be close, but even if New England falls behind, Seattle isn't going to change their approach. They'll stay in zone, rally to the ball, and force the offense to burn clock. So while the attempts could be there, yardage likely won't be. This is a bet based on Seattle's coverage tendencies. That said, Maye is a second-year player in the biggest game of his life with a shoulder possibly at less than 100%, and that only strengthens the case for Drake Maye under passing yards.
We've talked a lot about Drake Maye and this matchup versus Seattle, kind of ad nauseum. And it's really kind of just, like I said, the him punching up in terms of the sample size we've seen this season. Outside the first game against Buffalo, that's the only other top 10 defense they played during the regular season, that he's just struggled. And it's hard to have a lot of faith against the Seattle defense, even with Emmanwori kind of maybe not being 100%. Like top down, this is still just a really strong defense. And I think both guys are going to struggle throwing the football. The one worry that you have here is that he alluded to is the just the amount of volume that you could have in this game. And we've seen some quarterbacks get there on Seattle, like a Cam Ward, get there, against them. So if you got to worry a little bit about the volume, even if you're just getting not shot plays, just that kind of catching you in the end. So this one, again, is if you twisted my arm, I would lean towards the viewer submission. But it's not one that I'm not like running towards and looking to just get down on like immediately.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I am as well. Well, with this one, I mean, I like it. Everything points to this. The matchup is not good for Drake Maye, but there obviously are avenues here. We've already mentioned that he's going to throw the ball down the field. And so if you get one long play to Kyle Williams or Demario Douglas, then that really hurts you when we're only at 220.5 yards. And the other part of it, the game script part of it as well. So yeah, I mean, I think all of this makes sense, but I don't know if it's a slam dunk would be where I'd put it.
Yeah, my question becomes, I still am firmly in belief that the team that is leading in the second half, especially the final 25 minutes or so of the game, will be forced to punt more frequently, will not have as much success because they are going to lean into the run. And I don't think either offense is going to have a lot of success running the football. So let's pretend if your game state is that the Seahawks are going to have success and be up on the scoreboard. I don't know that they're going to possess the football very much in the fourth quarter of this game. And as a result, it's going to give Drake Maye those opportunities. So what you really do want to have a thought process of here is that the Patriots have a good shot to win this game. And so as a result, this one could be a good same game parlay of Patriots plus the 4.5 or 5 to Drake Maye under his passing yards. I think that will help increase your payout if you're looking to go this route. Let's hear from Joey B. Joey B, I assume this isn't Joe Burrow, but you never know. Let's see what Joey B's prop is on this game.
Hello, Sharps. Today I bring to you an absolute gem prop for the Super Bowl. Sam Darnold under 114.5 passing yards, first half. This is available at DraftKings at -113. Why do you ask? Top 5 blitz heavy teams that they've played this year: Steelers, Colts, Falcons, Bucks, and Vikings. He's only averaging 75.2 yards in the first half, mainly because he threw 122 against the Steelers. Seahawks are only averaging 7.8 points. He's had 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. In all those games, they had Charbonnet. This week, they don't. Walker's one of the worst PFF graded pass blocking running backs. Charbonnet was graded pretty highly. Super Bowl, nerves, play it close to the chest. Patriots running the ball. This one's going under. Count on it.
Well, I like the confidence there from Joey B. Obviously not the Joe B that I was thinking from Cincinnati. But look, he's got an interesting angle here that I wasn't thinking when I was first anticipating, Sam Darnold passing yards, first half under. He's thinking about the pass protection from the running back and the fact that Zach Charbonnet is not there, which is an interesting wrinkle to introduce into the mix as well there. Certainly, I do believe that both of these defensive-minded head coaches will look to pass when they need to, but try to focus on the run game. And as we all know, the Seattle Seahawks had the number 4 highest early down run rate in the first 3 quarters of games, number 1 highest overall run rate over the course of the entire game this season. And if they can try to get that run game going, they will sacrifice some of those runs that don't gain a whole lot of yards in order to later on in the game work some of those deeper shots down. So as long as you don't hit on some of those deeper shots in the tail end of the first quarter or at some point in the second, and some of those actually do pay off in the second half of the game, then this one really looks good. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked so much about this, and so I don't really want to dwell on it, but I think I'm going to this game thinking the Patriots are going to have to force the Seahawks out of their normal offense by pushing them on the other side, which could happen earlier in the game. There could be a big play, there could be a turnover, there could be a long catch. There are lots of ways that could happen, but I think that the Seahawks are going to have to be forced out. If we do see them come out in the second half and the game's closer than maybe they thought it was going to be, and they make some second half adjustments to throw more because they haven't been successful running, I could see them throwing a lot more in the second half, or obviously if they're trailing, throwing more in the second half. But I just think the Patriots are going to have to force them out of it. And so if you're getting the first half under rather than the full game, you take some of that risk, I think, out of it. So yeah, I like this one quite a bit.
Yeah, I do too. And we've talked about the splits for the Seahawks too as well. A lot of them, the reduction of terms of the depth of target for Sam Darnold and just the shot plays downfield. Even Ray brought up it's been a little bit higher in the postseason, but it's still not like where they're taking the full on bombs away, play action stuff that they were, and they're facing a better defense. Since week 12, he's only hit this twice in the first half. One was the championship game against the Rams. So if you want to throw a grain of salt for the most recency bias, but the good defenses that he's faced that we've kind of highlighted, or I even highlighted in the worksheet, like Houston, Minnesota, Carolina. He did get there against Houston, but he hasn't even been close against some of these other defenses. He's been well under 100 yards against Carolina, Atlanta, who he brought up the high blitz rate. Minnesota wasn't close as well. The Colts wasn't close. So this is another one expecting what we talked about for the game to this point, plus some of the tendencies we've seen from this offense. This one looks really good too as well.
All right, so great. So we'll definitely keep this one on the short list. The next one is Tommy B. And what I want to say with this one is, guys, just be prepared. This guy put a lot of thought, a lot of effort into this one. I think it's going to surprise you. And I just want to say this. I don't know, because this is a long shot parlay. He's got a plus 450 same game parlay. He's going to try to work a lot of things into this. So I just want to mention what he's got here. He's got Darnold to throw a pick with some receiving props for Kenneth Walker and Holani mixed in here. So I want to set the stage for this guy, Tommy B. But what I also want to say is I thought this was the most creative video of any of these. And whether we pick you or not, Tommy B, if you win this, I'm going to toss you $100, just even if you don't win this contest, because I think that this is a pretty cool presentation. So let's roll the film.
My favorite prop, the Super Bowl. Same game parlay, 3 legs, 450. Kenny Walker over 21.5 receptions. Receiving yards, rather. Holani, 1.5 receptions. Drake Maye, he's going to throw a pick. We're all overs. Let's get into it. This is why I think he's going to win. All right, last 5. Kenny Walker, he's 4 for 5 in his last 5 games. He beat the line of the San Fran, Rams. The only one he didn't do is Carolina. All right. Patriots attack with the backs, right? You got Harvey went over this line, Marks went over the line, Vidal went over the line, Wright went over the line, Brees Hall went over the line. You attack the Patriots with the backs to leave the middle of the field wide open. They primarily run a lot of man, but they're not going to run a lot of man. Everyone thinks they're going to run a lot of man. They're going to do a lot of zone. And when they do a lot of zone, the middle of the field is wide open. There's so much pressure. Darnold's just going to stand in the middle. He's a statue. He's worse than Peyton Manning. He's not leading the pocket. He's not going to scramble. So what are they going to do? They need to do quick passes. Kubiak is going to adjust the game plan. Kenny Walker's going to come out of the backfield. He's going to have screens. He's going to get over that. And when he's not, Holani's going to get over it. That's why he's going to get 2 receptions. Darnold. Hold on to the ball for 3.5 seconds. Seattle's pressure. He's young. Hunt for the big play. He's going to get at least 1 pick. And for that, 450. Let's go. Ride with me.
Absolutely perfect. That was amazing. And the other thing is, Ray, he's a clear Denver Broncos fan. He had to suffer Bo Nix leaving, Jarrett Stidham. He had to watch them play, barely missed the Super Bowl, might have made it if Bo Nix did play. So the suffering Broncos fan still putting forth a ton of effort using his kids' school supplies there that they bought their kids. Outstanding job.
Yeah, no, Mad Money. Who's that? Steve Kornacki on NBC, right? Yeah, just that whole thing. Just vibes. Love the vibes. I also like the angle and correlation with this one, and it's like something we've talked about with Patriots force pressure, which both forces Darnold to get the ball out shorter, throw to running back, something he's been doing a lot more in recent weeks. Anyway, that pressure leads to mistakes for Darnold. I mentioned this stat on the Tuesday. Darnold's 31st among qualified quarterbacks in the regular season in interception rate under pressure. It also plays up the angle that you've talked about, Warren, where the Seahawks might have to throw more simply because the Patriots are really good at run defense. And again, we think maybe if that happens, it'll happen more in the second half, or at least I think that. So yeah, there's lots of avenues here. And then obviously presentation. We're in. We're just 100% in. Good work, Tommy.
What do you think of that one, Rich?
I thought it was fun. I mean, these aren't the types of bets I typically like to place, but I am all for the presentation, and I'm all for the individual pieces of this as well. So I can get on board with that. But you're not going to catch me doing a lot of parlays.
Anti-fun, Rich.
I know.
Always with the anti-fun.
I will say this: Rich is definitely all for the in-game prop angles and trying to make a bunch of money laddering different players in game. So, Rich is having a lot of success in doing that. Next up, we've got Taylor M. And Taylor M, I recognize the name. I know he's been on here before. He's had some success before getting his videos up here. So, and maybe he was doing a lot of engagement when we were doing the live show, I think, back last year. But Taylor M, he's got something about fourth downs. Let's hear what he has to say.
Hello, Sharps. My favorite Super Bowl prop is on the bet, will either team convert a fourth down attempt in their own territory? I say no, which is minus 122 on FanDuel. Both of these teams are led by defensive-minded head coaches who will not want to take this type of major risk unless absolutely necessary. Each team ranked in the bottom half of the league in fourth down attempts this year, with the Seahawks finishing dead last. Meanwhile, they both ranked in the top 7 in fourth down conversion percentage allowed on defense. These trends point to a lack of fourth down aggressiveness and success, and there's only really one game script we have to worry about. If the trailing team has the ball late in a close game, and if they face a fourth down, and if it is in their own territory, then we could maybe have one play where this bet would be at risk. If so, both teams have an elite fourth down defense for us to get behind. So in my eyes, there's two options. One, we never get this scenario and we roll to an easy cash. Or two, we have to sweat out one play late with the Super Bowl in the balance, and what's more fun than that? Thank you.
Yeah, this is one where you're going to be riding through the game script to the end. I pulled up some stuff on this because I thought this was very interesting. The Seattle Seahawks are the only team in the NFL that haven't even attempted a fourth down in their own territory this season. So
the only team.
They're only team in the NFL that have it. So I pulled some stuff. Here's the bummer though about the Seattle Seahawks. They have faced the third most fourth down attempts in the opposing team's territory because they have beaten a lot of teams. And 6 of those 12 that they faced have come in the fourth quarter of games. So like you said, you're going to be, this is going to look great for probably 3 quarters. And then you're just going to have to ride out and sweat that fourth quarter, which does make for a kind of a fun sweat because, you're going to be riding that out. So this one I think is fun. And you just have to worry about the kind of angle of like, hey, the jailbreak game script, we've got the ball, we've got to score a touchdown, and then that bones you. But like you said, you do have the defenses at least in your back corner to bail you out of that scenario.
And the convert part of it helps too. Like the convert part of it really helps because even if they're going for fourth down in desperation, but it's 4th and 12 or 4th and 9 or whatever, then you're like, all right, well, I still feel pretty good about this. But my hope is that we get like a 4th and 2 from like the 40, and we got to go to a review for the spot. No, what a sweat that would be. What a time to be alive that would be.
Listen, we're gonna get a terrible spot. You can guarantee that.
And I guarantee you, not only will there be a terrible spot, but they won't use the the video review board thing. They're just gonna go with what's on the field. I don't know what they've been doing this postseason with.
Why would we put a chip in the ball that tells us like where the ball is and then not use it to determine where the ball got to. Has anybody explained that yet? I haven't.
Their excuse is something about like forward progress and knowing exactly when. I don't know. I disagree with a lot of the things that the league does from a referee perspective. And yes, if you haven't noticed that already. But the one thing that I will say about this one, I agree with both of you guys. It will be a fun ride till the very end. But if you remember last year, we had a fun ride until the very end as well. And we lost that one at the very last second with the submission last year. What was it that the Philadelphia Eagles would have the longest yardage of a touchdown in the Super Bowl? And obviously they had that until like the 58th minute of the game, something like that, when the Kansas City Chiefs scored the bomb to Xavier Worthy and blew that one wide open, and obviously got blown out themselves. Complete garbage time, unnecessary for them to score there, and that lost the. I forget who submitted that prop, but that was the one we chose for the show last year, and it looked perfect for 95%.
To be fair, the process was right.
Absolutely. The process was very right. I think the process is right here. I think the process is right with this one as well. And I like not having to lay more than -122. Okay, let's go to Jeff B for a prop on Hunter Henry.
My favorite Super Bowl prop is Hunter Henry, first quarter receiving yards over 0.5. It's available at FanDuel for plus money. Not by a lot, but plus 102. I like it for a couple of reasons. First, although I don't see first quarter receptions at FanDuel, there's discordance with what is over at DraftKings. They have him to get one reception at -131. So if the odds are saying, as they are there, that he's going to get a reception, I'm betting it's going to be greater than 0.5 yards. And I like it because he's a nice, reliable early target for Drake Maye as they try to get him comfortable early in the game. So FanDuel, plus 102. Hunter Henry, first quarter receiving yards over 0.5. Thank you.
Logically, if you're just like zoomed out, this sort of makes sense because the Seahawks are bad against tight ends. The issue becomes for me, it seems like his logic is just because it's like an arbitrage opportunity. He thinks one book has a line, and if that's the right line, then this is the wrong line. Going back and looking at Hunter Henry specifically, I was a little surprised to learn that in only 3 out of 20 games this year has he caught a pass in the first quarter. He hasn't done it in 4 straight games. He hasn't done it in 6 of 7 games. And I like this matchup, and I do think that maybe because of this matchup, there's a better average chance that he would be called upon. And I do agree the strong correlation between if he catches a pass, especially with his ADOT, he's not catching him behind the line of scrimmage, he'll have a yard. The issue is simply that it hasn't been something that the Patriots have been using very frequently in the first quarter. So will they go to it here or not? It is plus money, so you don't have to win 50% of the time in order to make out on this one. But what do you guys think here?
I mean, I like the arbitrage angle. I always think that that's a fun and profitable thing to do, especially becoming even easier with some of the prediction markets. So I like that. I also like when we talk about the matchup and this being a good matchup for tight ends. I mean, like I guess it's just kind of a relatively better matchup than it is for wide receivers. And Henry doesn't catch, he just hasn't been catching that many passes. And this I think goes against the public. I'm more on Henry unders just overall in this game. I'm not going to say this one should be an under because it's like you said, it's just one catch. He needs a catch in the first quarter in the scripted plays that, based on the matchups, based on tight end being easier, based on what he said, Henry being like a good safe target for Maye if you're trying to ease him in, all of that makes sense to me. I think this bet makes sense. But in general, I'm kind of, I don't know, meh on Henry overall. And I think I'm a little bit lower on him maybe than the public when I'm looking at these lines.
I don't have much to add. I mean, it's just like it's a player to catch a pass at plus money. I mean, I'm not infatuated with Hunter Henry either, but it's. I would say this: I would love to see who wins the coin toss, and then if you want to do that, like some of these first quarter, me and Warren talk behind the scenes about this because a couple of years ago I've been doing a lot of first quarter stuff, like seeing who won the toss, and they didn't account for the number of possessions. So if like the Patriots win the toss and you want to go back the 10 minutes before kickoff and see if this is still plus money, then you come back in and touch it up because you're probably going to get an extra possession.
Yeah, that definitely is valuable. And, Ray, you did mention about the scripted play aspect of this and trying to get Drake Maye settled in. And the one thing that I do think we have to realize here with both of these quarterbacks is we're so accustomed to seeing Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, coaches that have quarterbacks that have both a lot of experience in the Super Bowl, that have been here before on this stage. Josh McDaniels obviously has experience here dialing up plays to win a Super Bowl and getting quarterbacks settled in. But it's just going to be interesting to see neither of these quarterbacks have that experience. One is very young. One has sort of had a history of being rattled at times. How will these play callers attempt to come out with the scripted plays in order to try to settle them in? Will they really try to lean on the run? Will that result in third downs? Will they try to stay ahead of the sticks by throwing the ball? Will the runs be successful? I think it's going to be fascinating just to watch the way that this game starts. But you're right. I mean, a good buddy of a quarterback, always a tight end, a nice tight end. And in this case, that could be something that Drake Maye is looking for. Okay, next up, we've got a tandem in videos, and I think we're going to play these back to back. The first one is going to be Jordan J, and the next one is going to be Todd H. And the reason we're playing these back to back, they're obviously two separate submissions. We'll have to decide which of these would make the cut and be the winner. They're not both going to win, but they are playing the same style of prop, same player, and that's Travion Henderson. So let's go one by one. Jordan J first, then Todd H.
Hey, Sharps, my favorite bet for the Super Bowl is Travion Henderson to have at least 20 rushing and receiving yards in the first half at plus 350, available currently at Fanatics. All right, let me first start off by saying I want nothing to do with Henderson's median outcomes. I think Ramondre is the guy they continue to ride and trust. However, if they decide to break tendencies, which I believe they have a good reason to do, I think that this bet is a gift. This line at plus 350. All right, they've generated negative 0.19 EPA per rush and a 23% success rate, as well as 3.3 yards per carry, and that's on page 46 of Warren Sharp's game analysis PDF. I think they're going to figure out a way to get their most explosive player, Travion Henderson, a little bit more involved in the first half to start the game. He has got 18 explosive runs this year, averaging over 5 yards per carry and over 7 yards per reception. So I think McDaniels, who's been here before, knows he's going to need to break tendencies to keep up with the Seahawks offense. He's going to look to get Travion Henderson a little bit more involved than he has been. Thank you guys for your consideration and good luck.
Great to be here. My favorite prop for this year's Super Bowl is Travion Henderson on a ladder bet, 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, and 40 yards. And it's 2-1, 9-1, 13-1, and 4-1. So that is my favorite prop. Seattle's weak against the running back pass. And with Travion Henderson, although he's been in the doghouse, one pass could run the whole ladder for me. So for this year's Super Bowl, my favorite prop is Travion Henderson, receiving yards, 10, 20, 30, and 40 yards. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great Super Bowl. We'll see you later.
I like the idea of playing yards here. I think what Jordan said about it is really the way to think about Henderson is we're not playing median outcomes, because median outcomes he's going under. That's just what's going to happen because he's played 8 snaps in the last 6 quarters. So you're playing on them getting him in a situation where they can take advantage of his big play. They can try to spark some offense. So that's why the ladder is interesting, as Todd said, with, does he just get one catch that they scheme up somehow? They get him on a wheel or something like that and take advantage of his big play. The over on rushing receiving plus 350 is a wild number for that. But I mean, it makes sense based on kind of what we've seen. I would say that Seattle is particularly good at limiting big rushing plays. They only allowed a 4.9% explosive run rate by running backs. That was number 1 with a bullet in the regular season. The Texans were second, and it was 6%. So they were a full percentage point better than the Texans. Henderson isn't really running routes. So we need something to change for this to hit, but you're at least swinging for the fences with Henderson, which if you're going to play him, I think that is the way to do it.
I think you bet this on principle. It's a 70% hit rate and it's plus 350. You just bet it and you hope for the best.
Hope for the best. Yeah.
70% hit rate. How are you figuring that?
I just pulled first half Travion Henderson yards from scrimmage. It's got 14 of 20 games.
So Travion Henderson, look, we have seen Josh McDaniels in the past do some interesting things with quarterbacks and their receiving ceilings in the Super Bowl. Obviously, if you want to bet like Ray was suggesting on something that is not necessarily a median outcome, but the upside of, well, what if there is a world where they do scheme up TreVeyon Henderson? The defense isn't necessarily going to expect it. The other thing that I was thinking, we talked about this on the Wednesday show, because they've gone to such a high run rate with TreVeyon Henderson on the field, you stick TreVeyon Henderson on the field because his pass pro has been lacking. You utilize play action, so the defense is playing the run. And then what if you actually throw the ball to TreVeyon Henderson because you don't even need him? You don't want him necessarily pass blocking back there. You want him out there. If you're going to have him on the field for a pass snap, you don't want him pass blocking because he's not good at it. So just send him out to down the field. So I think there's some upside here for that thought process in general. So for that reason, I like kind of the upside outcome here of playing some of the alts on the Henderson as well. So I don't mind either of those and that general thought process. Speaking of thought process, we are only 2 days away from the Super Bowl, and we have everything you need to get ready for the biggest game of the year. Right now, you could take 50% off our Super Bowl package. And when you join, you'll receive my 53-page Super Bowl report breaking down every key matchup to help you bet sides, totals, and props. You'll also get my best bet of the week. Best bets are undefeated this postseason, and they are 16-3 on the season. That's 84%. We will have multiple elevated props. We already have 2 out there. We might have another one that's coming out. These are undefeated in the postseason as well. They are 37-12 during the season. That is 76%. In addition, we have a 1.25 unit recommendation on the Super Bowl. We've only had 10 of them this year. They are a perfect 10-0, 100%. I will continue to release more bets as we approach kickoff. There's a good chance we might even have a second best bet of the week before Sunday gets here. So you don't want to delay. If you're interested, get on board for what we've sent, what we're going to continue to send. A lot of big-time bets that we have released thus far. Don't miss out on your last chance to win with us this season. Go to sharp.football. Click the top link to get on board today at a 50% discount. All right, guys, we've got a lot of great submissions. As you could see, there are a lot of guys that had some good ideas, some props that we agreed with, some good presentation. This was what made it difficult to even narrow it down to this field. So we had to leave some good videos on the side to get to this point. So kudos to everybody who made it this far. Now it's up to the 3 of us, the panel of sharps, to figure out who is going to be crowned the winner for the shot at $2,000. Let's huddle up and think about it.
A few moments later.
After careful consideration from the sharps and the panel, we have selected our winner, and it is Joey B. Not Joe Burrow, Joey B. And his prop was Sam Darnold, first half passing yards under 114.5. We also wanted to verify that this was still live and available. It's at multiple spots. In fact, you can get this at 117.5 over at MGM right now. So if you're looking to get on board with this one, it's out there at multiple spots. This is the winner for the 2026 Super Bowl for the Sharp Tank Special. This is the prop that all of us are going to be rooting for. We're going to put our money on it as well. And Joey B, you stand to win $2,000 in cash and prizes. Obviously, part of the cash is you need to win this bet. This is part of the payout is you got to win this bet. So let's all root for Joey B to win some money here. And congratulations once again. We look forward to talking to you later. With that said, that was our winner. We've got a lineup of 3 of our favorite selections for the Super Bowl. So let's build our PrizePicks lineup. And as a reminder, PrizePicks will give you $50 in lineups instantly as soon as you play your first $5 lineup. Use code WARREN when you sign up. They're available in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Make sure that you click the link in the description below to take advantage of that offer, or use code WARREN when you sign up. We're going to build our lineup for the Super Bowl one last time. We've done really well winning on PrizePicks, so let's try to do it one more time for you guys. First up, we are going to go with Drake Maye sacks taken more than 3.5. Drake Maye has taken more than 3.5 sacks quite frequently. And against this pass rush with those 2 tackles, we think that there's some upside here for him to be sacked at least 4 times, especially with the game state potential here and the amount of times that he might need to drop back because either the run game is not successful or from a game script perspective. And we discussed this earlier. It was one of the submissions from Rob R. He liked the total sacks over. PrizePicks doesn't have that, but they do have Drake Maye specifically, so we're isolating that. Next up, Kenneth Walker, less than 74.5 rushing yards. This has been something that we talked about on the earlier podcast where we discussed some of the rushing angles here. It's going to be very difficult to go up against a Milton Williams-led New England Patriots run defense, which when he is on the field, he has played 7 teams that rank top 15 in run defense. Those running back ones, none of them even recorded 50 rushing yards against him. They do not get large runs. They do not have good days in general. And Kenneth Walker has gone up against 3 top 10 rushing defenses, not named the Rams, where he's a little bit less familiar. All 3 of them actually were from the AFC South. He did not have good averages in any of those games. So yes, they're going to need to rely on him. Yes, he might get attempts just because of game state, but we're not believing he's going to have a big day gaining a lot of yards on the ground. And last but not least, this is a Ray Summerlin special. Stephon Diggs, longest reception, less than 16.5. Stephon Diggs has not been utilized down the field in that role, especially with the pass rush, especially with the zone defense that Seattle is going to play here. More of a underneath outlet, get the ball to him underneath for Drake Maye, keep Drake Maye upright. We know that those drives get killed if Drake Maye is taking those sacks. So the goal is Drake Maye don't get a sack for this particular selection. Get the ball out quickly. Your whole process might get sped up against a team like the Seattle Seahawks. And if they do want to throw deep, which we talked about earlier, they do throw deep. And one of the guys suggested Drake Maye's longest completion to be more yards than Sam Darnold's. If they do throw deep, it's generally not to Stephon Diggs. I mean, that's not his role for this offense. They've got plenty of other mouths to feed. It's not Stephon Diggs down the field. So that is our 3-player lineup for the Super Bowl. We're looking to turn $100 into $600 one more time over on PrizePicks. You can do the same if you want to tail those by creating your own account over at PrizePicks. Don't delay. Do it right now. Take advantage. They also have another opportunity if you want to build in a totally separate lineup. You can get Drake Maye more than a half a passing yard. So we decided not to take that shortcut for you guys on this one, but if you can build a 3-player lineup yourselves, utilizing Drake Maye more than a half a passing yard, might as well take advantage of that and try to do that on your own over at PrizePicks. Use code Warren when you sign up. That brings us to the final Sharp Football Analysis podcast of the year before the Super Bowl. I know everybody has put a ton of effort into it. I first want to commend you, Ray, you, Rich, for all the outstanding work that you guys have done throughout the course of the season. Couldn't ask for a couple of better partners to ride through the 2025 NFL season with, and both of you guys worked your tails off, and it shows in the results from a client perspective in terms of what they have gotten over the course of the season from both of you guys. So kudos to you, but how are you guys really feeling at this point with a few days left to the Super Bowl? Rich, are you going to be scouring some of the prop betting angles and maybe riding on some of the celebrity parlays that you're seeing at some of the various different sports books? What is some of the good ones that you're identifying over there?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking for, Snoop Dogg's 6-game parlay, over on DraftKings or whatever celebrity they're tapping into. But I don't know if it's copium or just the fact that we wrote down, we went into the weeds so deep on this game, you and I, like it's what we do. But I came out more positive. I know no one's picking the Patriots, but I came out more positive at the Patriots. Like at least at the 4.5 feels good. Like we haven't actually picked the game. And I think if you forced me to pick, I would just take the 4.5 points. And if you want to try to thread the needle, as I've thrown some Slansky bucks on, trying to thread the needle of Seahawks money line, Patriots covering as well too. So I think it's going to be a low scoring game. When I say low scoring game, I don't mean like a terrible game. I mean like something in the realm of 20-16, 23-17, something like that in that area, just where it's not like 35-31 or like how we've seen some of the Eagles Chiefs Super Bowls. I think this is going to be a more competitive game though than I think that the market believes it's going to be, because it hasn't moved since it opened.
Yeah, that's what we talked about last week. Every pick that I see come in from anybody who's anybody in the industry is always, I think the Seahawks are going to win. Seahawks are going to win. And yet this line just stays there, 4.5, doesn't move. We haven't gotten any closer to 7. Like you would think with the amount of people who are betting on the Seahawks, we could even get it. Like we're not going to get it through 7, but could we get it to 6.5? Right? Could we keep moving that line? Hasn't moved, hasn't budged. Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, we've talked about it. The Seahawks are a better team. If Sam Darnold plays the way he played against the Rams, that's curtains. Like it is what it is. But there's so many avenues here for the Patriots to, like you said, stay competitive, and more than stay competitive, win this game. So yeah, I'm excited to watch it. I don't think we're going to see a lot of touchdowns. I don't think we're going to see a lot of points, as our very negative PrizePicks lineup would seem to suggest. But I do think that we are in for a good, exciting game between two good coaching staffs, two really good teams, two really good defenses. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one.
And when you mentioned coaching staffs, I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm going to be looking forward to. And Rich, maybe you to a degree as well, with all the research that you did, is like, what is the game plan and early strategy going to be from both of these offensive coaches? And then what are the defenses going to look like, and how are they going to match up against that? What type of defense are we going to see rolled out? Are we going to see a lot of blitzes from the Patriots? Will the Seahawks use more cover 6? Like all of these different things that we've been researching, we're going to be sitting here watching the Super Bowl completely through a different lens than most of the people that are coming over to like our Super Bowl parties. They're just like, oh man, he just went 3 and out and punted. But yeah, did you see what they did on that? Like, we're going to be identifying all the different things that we were studying and researching. And some people might think it's a bad game because it doesn't have a lot of points, or because it does have some punts. But I agree. Hopefully it is quite competitive. And one last little piece of advice: if you guys do have the similar mindset to Rich, that it could be very close to the Patriots have a shot here, I cannot recommend enough what many of you guys haven't been betting Super Bowls prior to like 5-7 years ago, but like back 5-7 plus years ago, the Super Bowls were never 2 points, 3 points. Like they were always over the 3-point field goal for the most part. And in those games, often it was a very sharp strategy. Bet the favorite on the money line early. The line will move up, take the underdog late when the public's all coming in on the favorite, get the underdog on the spread. And now you've got a nice middle where you've got some advantage. I'll just say this. Now we have these exchanges like places like Novig, where you can get great money lines. No matter, you don't need to worry about the house, who's going to take that percentage. So go straight to a place like Novig, click the link in the description below, and you can get better money lines than you'll find elsewhere if you do want to play that money line game and try to have an advantage there. If you're worried about, I really do like the Seahawks, but I don't know if they're going to cover the spread, that's the money line angle that you could look at if you're looking to lay Seahawks money line, would be through a place like Novig if you want to save yourself some money in that regard. But outstanding job, guys, as per usual. Hope that you guys, the fans of the show who are watching it, enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up. Make sure that you're subscribing to this channel, because we're not just going to see you in September. We're going to be here all off season long. We've got another show coming next week, possibly 2 shows coming next week, a Super Bowl recap show. Then Rich is going to be getting with Ryan, our college scout analyst, who's going to be dissecting this upcoming class. We got a lot of stuff related to free agents that Rich is going to be diving into as well, from a real football perspective, and then relating those moves to a fantasy perspective. And Rich is quite excited about this year's class and the potential that we might have for key players moving teams. We're seeing it in all the other sports, all these massive trades going on, and we might see some interesting people in different places. We've already seen it in the coaching department this offseason with all the new offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators and new coaches. So we're in for a whirlwind offseason. And you guys need to stick with us as we help navigate you through it with our perspective here on YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, as well as all the written content that we're going to be sharing over at Sharp Football Analysis. So for Rich, for Ray, this has been a lot of fun this year. Good luck on all of your bets, all of your props, and we'll see you soon.